Hey, Rideshare Commando, and I wanted to bring you an update. So, as far as ratings go, it's pretty much officially declared that, we all know the rating system is unfair, but one thing that I've discovered is that you are not allowed to rate drivers in any negative way. And you might be thinking, well, Rideshare Commando, yes, I can. It lets me in the app. Well, here's the catch. Riders have the ability to rate you up to 30 days after the ride, whereas we have to rate immediately after the ride. So what ends up happening is they'll wait a couple days, just like with Uber Eats. I order from them all the time when I'm at home and just relaxing. And I have 2 to 4 days before I even get prompted to rate that driver. And it's the same thing with the Uber platform and Lyft platforms. Riders have several days to see their rating drop and then retaliate against you. And I was the victim. I learned this firsthand because my rating has dropped considerably. I decided that inconsiderate riders I didn't want to pick up anymore. I wanted to give them 3 stars so that I would never get paired with them again. Well, this is wrong. You cannot do that because I went from a 4.8 down to a 4.6. In fact, right now I'm resting at 4.58. And I also did the math on this, and in order to raise yourself even a single point, like 4.58 to 4.59, I had to get, 14 5-star rides, and that was over a 3-day period. And over that 3-day period, I gave roughly 100 rides-ish, because I drive quite a bit. So what ends up happening is you rate them bad, then they rate you even worse. Now I'm going to talk, the next video I'm putting up is when to cancel, because I do not like pool rides at all. And one thing I've noted, and I've actually been documenting this as I progress through driving, is that people that make you wait 4 minutes and then they finally rush out, one, they're almost always short rides, at least in Seattle. They are almost always a very, very short ride. And that shows an inconsiderate nature from riders to drivers. They do not care if you have to wait. And the people that are paying for pool rides and the people that make you wait 4 to 5 minutes, they're the ones that tend to rate you the lowest, no matter what you have. Because in mine, I have a hotspot, Netflix. I have every amenity that you could possibly fit into my car, including every single type of charger that there is. So, even with all of those, you're still going to get people having a bad day and taking it out on you. That's one thing I've noticed too. Kind of a side bit of information with Seattle is a lot of Seattleites and Washingtonians, we hold a grudge against people from LA, and that's because of the materialism and lack of any depth of conversation. And that's, again, it's a stereotype, and stereotypes are not entirely accurate, but it's a predominant stereotype that many Washingtonians will acknowledge. I would say the majority of us would. We have a thing called the Seattle Freeze. So when you drive those riders, they are in no way, shape, or form considerate to you. And another thing I've noticed too is riders that will make you drive 15 minutes and 10 miles or a half-mile ride or less, which I've actually had. I had one person during the drunken hour, if you will, at 2 o'clock in the morning. I drove to pick her up, and she only had to go literally a block, which, as you know with Uber, if you have to go that short of a distance, it will say you have not driven far enough, please cancel ride, and so on. Basically, she would have gotten a free ride from what Uber has shown us so far. Okay, and in that respect, I asked her if she was going any further, and she became belligerent when I asked, okay, are you sure this is only the distance you need to go? Because, frankly, she could have walked it in 3 minutes. Literally 3 minutes, she could have just walked it. But she had me drive 15 minutes and 10 miles. I think it was like 8 miles. So, and when she got belligerent and I said, okay, well, I wouldn't get paid for this fare, That's when she opened the door and yelled into a crowd of people of all different orientations. She yelled the word racist, which anybody that knows me knows that I've never dated a white girl in my life. And I've been a member of the Kojic Church since I was 14. And two of my mentors are black pastors. So calling me, and my second family is Mexican. So calling me racist, I mean, there's no foundation for it whatsoever. And I treated her respectfully and talked to her in the same tone I'm talking to you. But yeah, those writers, I guarantee she gave me a 1 star. Um, and it was one of those situations where, you know, she got in, I turned it on, and then I saw the destination, and so, you know, I had to end the ride and so on. It was just a complicated situation, but you're going to run into those all the time, especially if you're driving late. But I mean, there are inconsiderate riders out there. The one warning that I would give to you is, no matter how bad a rider is, unless you're willing to take a hit on your ratings, don't rate riders. Just give them 5 stars all the way through. If you need to not get a rider again, one thing you can do is you can call the Uber hotline, or you can email Uber and request not to be paired with this rider again. That is available to you. And of course, I'm sure if enough people started doing that, Uber would pay attention. So I would encourage you to do that. Rate them 5 stars, but then call in afterwards and request not to be paired with that rider again. But your ratings will suffer if you ever rate a rider less than 5 stars. That is something that I can empirically prove. I've made document of this. I've recorded screenshots. It's something that needs to be corrected, and I don't know if it will be corrected anytime soon. And to give you a quick update on the T-Mobile situation, we rideshare gurus, if you will, advice givers, are in talks with T-Mobile right now. Now, it's not decided on whether this will be a beneficial relationship or not, because there are obviously internal agendas and internal perspectives. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. I'm hoping for the best. I am absolutely hoping for the best, because if this does play out the way that things are being negotiated right now, then it will be a major win for all of you. There's something big coming, hopefully. But we've got to see how T-Mobile responds. There's been a little bit of hesitation lately, so we've got to see, you know, where it's going to go from here. But in the meantime, we are still pushing forward. Myself and several other rideshare drivers, the Rideshare Professor, subscribe to him. He is an amazing resource. He is an amazing resource. And then go into the Entrepreneur. Kevin, he's a great guy. I like him. He's you may not believe this, but he is genuinely as nice as he seems. I had a nice long conversation. He had me laughing the whole time, which, to make me laugh as a stand-up comedian, that's impressive. And he had me laughing for several minutes. So those two gentlemen, I highly recommend subscribing to them. Same thing with the Uberman. I recommend subscribing to him too. I've had a personal conversation with him. He's a great guy, and he is getting on board, or we are in negotiation on the T-Mobile project too. I mean, yes. I mean, these guys, they are superstars, and they're fighting for you in the background. And they are testing out new things for you, and they're bringing a new perspective to these major companies that could create programs specifically for all of you to make your lives easier, save you some money, and get you better tips and better ratings. Right now, we're exploring a couple of options that are getting massive major tips and much better ratings. So stay tuned, subscribe. Feel free to leave any comments you want. I mean, try to be gentle if you're going to be mean, but at the same time, I would love to hear your feedback. So subscribe, comment. Catch you guys next time, okay?